when you're aligned like that, then, you know, you can get much further, much quicker, because you're two people on the same page and able to, you know, just make it all happen.
Yeah, there's a book called Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. Check it out, man. He talks a lot about, you know, doing your values, principles, as a business individual and then as a couple. So my wife and I, we did that, and we have our own separate values. Your 5 next moves.
That guy's podcasts are pretty sick. He has some good guests on too. Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah, he's very analytical. I like the way he thinks, and I like the way he explains business. And that's how his book is. Yeah, your values individually, business, and then as a couple, write those down, and then just you know, because those are the things you fall back on, and never compromise.
Is he all right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What's up, guys?
Sorry, I got tied up talking with Nathan. So,
Oh, you're good.
yeah. So I'm behind here. I mean, I
Still
know what
right
the
on
chapter
time,
was
so.
about.
Right on
but-
time.
Love and marriage, love and marriage.
I'll start with my observation of this chapter, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for
All
it.
right. So Brandon talks about basically finding another power couple to align with, and you know, his marriage woes from the past. You know, what I took out of this one was surrounding yourself with like-minded people. That whole, you are the summation of the people you hang out with or you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
That's my biggest takeaway from this chapter, is being around people that aren't gonna drag you down and are gonna compliment you and help you maximize your potential. That was the biggest thing that stood out to me. And he made a conscious effort to go look for those people, which is pretty
Super
pretty cool.
intentional, right?
Yeah. And then also not necessarily judging off first impression. The funniest part of this chapter was his impression of Cardone was Cardone outside a jet with a sideways hat shooting money out of a cannon, and he said this guy's a freaking cartoon or whatever, you know. Which he kind of is a cartoon, but
he is, man. He's a personality.
Like, he still went and showed up to the next chapter gets into that.
Yeah. No, it is cool. I mean, you know, one thing about Brandon is everything he does is very intentional.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if he gets into all the details in this chapter about how they bought the tickets that were in the right place in the auditorium, where he wore these sparkly Louis Vuitton fucking shoes, right? He's like, I know he's gonna see us. He's gonna he's gonna see us, right?
Yeah.
And then Maxwell, John Maxwell was a mutual friend, so he had that going for him, right? Maxwell happened to be at that event that year. But you know, the intentionality with how he went to meet these people, and they had a criteria of like, okay, are these going to be our new business partners based on, I think it was 5 things, right? And I mean, I've never made friends that way.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, and look where they are now, right? But yeah, if you ever get a chance to see Brandon tell the story, like see him on YouTube or something, I mean, it's pretty hilarious, because he does have like, he mimics the body moves and the sideways hat and everything, right? And he's like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me, right?
Yeah.
And then he listens to the books, he's like, all right, well maybe there's something there.
Yeah. Even in the book description, I could just picture Grant shooting money out of a cannon. It's like pretty.
I know exactly which clip he's talking about, because I've seen it, right? So.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, intentionality in life is, I would say, the key for getting what you want, right? Most of us kind of float through life just accepting what comes our way.
Yeah.
Instead of really like having a reason, having a target, having a focus, and then building a life that gets you towards that goal. you know, Grant says that a lot of times. He says, I'm not building balance, I'm building a life, right? Because a lot of it, work-life balance, right? Everybody's trying to get everybody to just settle down and just, you know, be average, and there's all these cute terms that get thrown around, but at the end of the day, you know, Grant's like, you know, and other people have said this too, right? I'm not building I'm building a life I don't need a vacation from, right? Like, it should be fun to be alive. So go figure out what that is for you so that you're doing that and you're building your life around it. Then it's not a battle of either or, it's just more, right? It's more life, it's more time with your kids, it's more time with your wife, it's more charity, it's more income, it's, you know, it's just more of life. It's not a choice between life and work. What do you think, babe? Are we doing that?
We're working that way,
We
yes.
are on our way there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say from a person who is working with his wife, I could not be a happier guy than to be able to come to work every day with my wife. And you know, we are both learning how to get through this process, right? And I'll share just one of my key observations that I've made over the years when it comes to relationships. And Allison knows what this is, right?
No.
Expectations,
Oh, yeah.
right? So typically what happens is two people get together, and Brandon talks about this in his first two marriages, right? They get together, they've got something in common, they like each other, love each other, and they start on this thing called life. And somewhere, and all of us do this, we're all, you know, we all have an image in our head of what marriage is, and that's your expectation, right? And you meet somebody, and your expectation is that they match that picture that you made. And then when they start falling short, which they're gonna, because nobody's that person, right? Then that's when the what's the word I'm looking for?
Disappointment.
Yeah, resentments, right? Little resentments start, right? It's like, well, I thought you would be doing this, this, and this. And you're like, well, I thought you'd be doing this, this, and this. And then there's conflict, right? Where when you just go at life together and you don't have a preset notion of what it's supposed to be, you're just happy to be together doing it. Like, it just changes the dynamic, right? So that's my wisdom nugget on marriage.
No expectations.
No expectations. Because, you know, Brandon's a good guy, but he and his first wife and his second wife had different expectations of what life was going to be like at 30 and 40 and 45. And when Brandon wanted to keep going, and his wife was like, okay, well, now you're violating my expectations, or maybe there was an agreement or whatever, right? There was friction there, right? And disappointment and resentment. So be careful not to start making up reasons to be mad at your spouse. All right, that's
Well
it.
said.
That's all I got. All right, did Scotty get to talk yet? Because I missed Scotty's voice.
He opened up.
He took
I opened
charge.
up, and you know, what I took in, I'll kind of go again so you hear it, but what I took from it was basically, you know, have your baseline of what your values and stuff are, and you probably can't really see me too well there, but have your baseline of what your values are, and you know, for myself and you, Sean, and I'm not sure about your other guys, well, Izzy, he's married, but if you are already married, obviously that's one thing, and you got to work, you know, that out. But if you're not married or you're seeking a partner, have your values and your baseline so that you know what you're looking for, and then you can seek that in a partner. And then when you are married and you're working together as a team, you're gonna be able to do things much better because you're more cohesive and you're working and you're fitting together nicely as like a pieces of puzzle kind of, you know what I mean? And when you do that and you're on the same page and your goals are the same, you're gonna be able to go a lot farther, a lot faster because you're working together and you're just cohesive.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I took from it, is making sure that baseline is there for you to always be able to fall back on and make sure that person that you're seeking a life partnership with to be aligned with yours.
Yeah, and if you are already married, there's never an impossibility to create alignment, right? You just figure out,
Yeah.
you know, how do we do both, right? Don't ever make it a battle about what do we do this or do we do that. It's okay, well, how do we do both?
And there is a lot of compromise, you know, you gotta be able to say, okay, well, you know, I'll be able to do this, but can you do this for me? Or vice versa, and you gotta be able to, you know, just saying it's never, you know, it's never 50-50. Some days you be putting in 70 and, you know, she's only getting 30, or, you know, vice versa. You may be putting in, you know, whatever amount, and then one day you can only, you know, contribute 25%, but it's always gonna be kind of a give and take and ebb and flow, and you gotta be able to just kind of, you know, work through that kind of stuff and, you know, be able to compromise.
Yeah, I heard somebody once say it's never 50-50, it's always 70-30. Like you're just you know, both people, right? Because we see through our own lens of our perception, right? Is if you're just doing 70% every day, then likely the likelihood is you're doing about 50%, right? And it's just kind of breaking down that barrier of keeping score. Like, don't keep score, because you know it's not a game somebody's trying to win, right? It's a destination we're trying to get to. So
You're a team and you gotta work together and do everything, and it doesn't matter, you know, like in baseball or something, you know, the pitcher, he's doing most of the work, you know, he's throwing every single pitch, but it's he can throw a perfect game one day, and then the next, you know, he comes out and maybe he gives up 10 runs, and your other teammates can pick you up and hopefully still get the win.
Yeah.
And just keep moving forward.
Yeah, and then expanding on that, Maxwell said, Maxwell asked that question too, and you know, I was like that mindset too, do 50-50, but he's like, why are you gonna half-ass your output? You know, you should be both doing 100-100. And then I switched my mindset on that. I was like, oh.
yeah, right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Awesome, guys. Well, sorry I was late. I appreciate everybody being here for our 9-figure journey, and let's get ourselves to 10 figures next.
Love it.
All right, guys.
Hey, guys.
We'll see you soon.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
Bye. You too.
Dude.